You know that weight you carry in your chest? That feeling that won't let you sleep at night? It's the burden of thinking you should have done more. That you should have been better. That you should have known what you didn't know at the time. And today, right now, I need you to hear something that might change everything. Peace comes when you accept that you did what you could with what you had in that moment. Listen to me carefully. You gave your best with the strength you had. You loved with the heart you carried then, not the one you have now after all the pain taught you new ways to love. You made choices with the understanding you possessed in that season of your life, before time opened your eyes to what you couldn't see before. And that matters. That matters more than you know. So many of us are walking around punished by our own hearts. We look back and we judge ourselves with today's wisdom, forgetting that yesterday we didn't have today's light. We compare the person we are now with the person we were then, and we find ourselves guilty. Guilty of not knowing what we hadn't learned yet. Guilty of not being strong when we were still learning to stand. Guilty of not seeing what was hidden from our eyes. But God doesn't measure you that way. He sees the whole picture. He saw you then, and He sees you now. He knows the nights you cried asking for guidance. He knows the times you prayed for strength to do the right thing. He knows how hard you tried, even when it looked easy to others. He knows the battles no one else saw, the ones you fought alone in the silence of your own soul. You did what you could. And maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you hurt someone you loved. Maybe you failed at something important. But in that moment, with that understanding, with that strength, with that broken heart or that confused mind or that tired soul, you gave what you had to give. And that's not nothing. That's everything you had. I want you to think about something right now. Think about a moment you keep returning to in your mind. A choice you regret. A word you wish you could take back. A chance you didn't take. A person you let down. Now I want you to ask yourself honestly, in that exact moment, with everything you knew then, with all the pain you were carrying then, with all the fear you had then, did you do the best you could with what you understood? Because here's the truth that will set you free. You cannot judge yesterday's you with today's heart. You've grown since then. You've learned since then. Life has taught you things you didn't know back there. Pain has opened your eyes to truths you couldn't see before. Time has given you understanding you simply didn't possess. And all of that is beautiful, but it doesn't mean you were wrong then. It means you're wiser now. Peace doesn't come from being perfect in the past. Peace comes from accepting that you were human in the past. That you were learning. That you were trying. That you were doing your best to navigate through the fog with the small light you had in your hand. God never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to be faithful. He asked you to try. He asked you to love as best as you could. And even when your best wasn't enough to fix everything, it was enough for Him to see your heart. And your heart, my friend, your heart was trying. Your heart was there. Your heart was doing what it could. There are people who gave up and didn't try at all. There are people who turned away and closed their hearts completely. There are people who knew better and chose worse anyway. But you tried. Even if it didn't work out the way you hoped. Even if you stumbled. Even if you fell. You tried. And that counts. In the eyes of heaven, that counts for everything. Maybe you were a parent who didn't know how to show love the way your children needed it. But you fed them. You kept them safe. You worried about them every single night. You did what you knew how to do with the example you had from your own childhood. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was yours. It was what you could give. Maybe you were in a marriage that fell apart, and you blame yourself for not fighting harder. But you did fight. You fought until you had no more fight left in you. You loved until you didn't recognize yourself anymore. You tried to hold together something that was breaking from both sides. And when it ended, it wasn't because you didn't try. It was because sometimes two people grow in different directions, and all the love in the world can't change that. Maybe you worked so hard to provide for your family that you missed moments with them. And now those moments are gone, and you wish you could go back. But listen to me, you were doing what you thought was right. You were trying to give them security. You were trying to give them a better life. You sacrificed your time because you thought that was what love looked like. And maybe now you understand that time is the greatest gift. But then, you were doing your best to be responsible, to be dependable, to be the one they could count on. The truth is, we're all looking back with regret at something. Every single one of us. Because none of us had all the answers. None of us knew exactly what to do. None of us were given a map that showed us every turn before we had to make it. We were all just walking forward, hoping we were going the right way, praying we weren't making mistakes that would hurt the people we loved. And here's what I need you to understand today. That's okay. That's being human. That's living. Life doesn't come with instructions. Love doesn't come with guarantees. Faith doesn't mean you'll always know the right answer before you have to choose. Sometimes you just have to choose, and hope, and pray, and trust that God will use even your mistakes for something good. If this message is reaching somewhere deep in your heart, if you're feeling something shift inside you right now, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Not for me, but so this message can reach someone else who needs to hear it today. Someone who's been carrying guilt that isn't theirs to carry. Someone who needs permission to forgive themselves. Your simple click might be the hand that lifts someone else out of darkness. You did what you could. Say it with me, even if you don't believe it yet. I did what I could. I gave what I had. I loved with the heart I carried. I tried with the strength I possessed. And that was enough. That had to be enough because it was all I had to give. Peace is waiting for you, but you have to let yourself receive it. You have to stop punishing yourself for not being someone you weren't ready to be yet. You have to stop holding yourself to a standard that you didn't even know existed back then. You have to look at yourself with the same mercy that God has been looking at you with all along. He's not angry at you for not being perfect. He's not disappointed in you for making mistakes. He's not holding your past against you. He's been waiting, patiently, lovingly, for you to finally accept that you're forgiven, that you're loved, that you did enough, that you were enough, that you are enough. The peace you're searching for isn't somewhere out there. It's not in going back and changing the past. It's not in being someone different than who you were. The peace you need is in accepting the truth. You did what you could, and that has to be enough now, because it's all you had then. Let that sink deep into your soul. Let it wash over all the guilt you've been carrying. Let it quiet all the voices that have been telling you that you should have known better, done better, been better. You were exactly who you were supposed to be in that moment, learning exactly what you needed to learn, becoming who you are today. And who you are today is someone who cares enough to feel regret. Someone who loves enough to wish they had loved better. Someone who has grown enough to see where they could have done things differently. And that growth, that awareness, that tenderness in your heart, that's proof that you're not the same person you were. You've changed. You've learned. You've become more. But that doesn't mean you were wrong then. It means you're wiser now. And there's a big difference between those two things. Being wiser now doesn't erase the value of who you were then. It honors it. It builds on it. It says, I did my best then, and I'm doing my best now, and that's all God ever asked of me. There's something I need to tell you, something that might break open the chains you've been wearing around your heart. God has already forgiven you. He forgave you before you even asked. He forgave you while you were still making the mistake. He forgave you when you were too ashamed to even look up to heaven. The only one who hasn't forgiven you yet is you. And today, that changes. Today, you learn to see yourself the way heaven sees you. You think God is keeping a record of everything you did wrong. You think He's waiting to remind you of your failures. You think He's disappointed in who you became or who you didn't become. But that's not God. That's the voice of guilt speaking, and guilt has been lying to you for so long that you started believing it was truth. The real God, the God who made you, the God who knows every hair on your head and every tear you've cried. He looks at you with such tenderness that if you could see his face for just one moment, you would never doubt his love again. He sees your heart. He sees how hard you tried. He sees every moment you wanted to give up, but kept going anyway. He sees every prayer you whispered in the dark. He sees you. All of you. And he loves what he sees. But peace doesn't come from God's forgiveness alone, because you already have that. Peace comes when you finally accept that forgiveness. When you stop pushing it away because you think you don't deserve it. When you stop telling God that he's wrong about you, that you're too broken, too guilty, too far gone. Peace comes when you bow your head and whisper, "Okay, God, if you say I'm forgiven, then I receive it. If you say I did enough, then I accept it. If you say I'm loved, then I believe it." That's the moment everything changes. That's when the weight lifts. That's when you can finally breathe again. Think about someone you love deeply. Your child, your grandchild, a dear friend. Now imagine they came to you, tears running down their face, telling you about a mistake they made years ago. They tell you how they tried their best but it wasn't enough. They tell you how they've been punishing themselves ever since. They tell you they can't forgive themselves. What would you say to them? You would hold them close, wouldn't you? You would tell them it's okay. You would tell them everyone makes mistakes. You would tell them that what matters is that they tried, that they cared, that they're still here trying to be better. You would pour love over their shame until the shame had nowhere left to hide. You would forgive them in a heartbeat, without hesitation, without conditions. Now hear this truth. That's exactly how God feels about you. Exactly. You would show more mercy to someone you love than you show yourself. And God's mercy is greater than yours. His love is deeper than yours. His understanding is wider than yours. If you can forgive the people you love for their mistakes, how much more does he forgive you for yours? The problem is we think forgiveness has to be earned. We think we have to suffer enough, hurt enough, regret enough before we deserve peace. We think God is keeping score, waiting until we've paid the price for our mistakes. But that's not how grace works. Grace is a gift. You can't earn it. You can't work for it. You can only receive it. And you receive it by opening your hands and letting go of the guilt you've been clutching so tightly. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but you don't know what I did. You don't know how badly I messed up. You don't know who I hurt. You don't know what I lost because of my choices. And you're right, I don't know your specific story. But I know this, whatever it is, however big it feels, however much it haunts you, God's grace is bigger. His love is stronger. His mercy is deeper. There's no mistake too big for God to forgive. There's no failure too great for his love to cover. There's no past too dark for his light to reach. If you're still breathing, if your heart is still beating, then there's still hope. There's still time. There's still grace waiting for you to accept it. Maybe you're thinking about a relationship you destroyed. You said things you can't take back. You did things that broke trust that can never be fully repaired. And now that person is gone from your life, or they're there but the closeness is gone, and you blame yourself every single day. You replay the conversations in your mind. You imagine what you should have said instead. You torture yourself with all the ways it could have been different, if only you had been different. But listen to me, even if you could go back, even if you could change everything, you would still be human. You would still be imperfect. You would still make different mistakes, because that's what people do. We're all stumbling through this life, trying to love each other with broken hearts and limited understanding. And sometimes we hurt the people we love most, not because we want to, but because we don't know how not to. You did what you could with the tools you had. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was never spoken out loud, so you didn't know how to speak it to your own family. Maybe you learned to protect yourself by building walls, and those walls kept out the very people you wanted to let in. Maybe you were carrying so much pain of your own that you didn't have room to hold someone else's pain too. That doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you a wounded person who was trying to survive. And there's a difference. A big difference. God doesn't condemn you for being wounded. He doesn't punish you for not knowing how to heal yourself. He doesn't turn away from you because you made mistakes while you were hurting. He draws closer. He whispers, I know it's hard. I know you're trying. I know you didn't mean to cause harm. I see your heart, and your heart is good. Your heart is just tired. Your heart needs rest. Your heart needs peace. And peace is what I'm offering you right now, through these words, through this moment. Peace that says, it's time to stop running from yourself. It's time to stop hiding from your own reflection. It's time to look in the mirror and say the words you've been afraid to say. I forgive you. I forgive you for not being perfect. I forgive you for not knowing what you didn't know. I forgive you for being human in a world that demands perfection. If this message is touching your soul right now, if you feel tears coming because something is breaking open inside you, would you take a moment to like this video and subscribe? Not because I need it, but because there's someone else out there right now, carrying the same guilt you're carrying. And maybe, just maybe, this message reaching them will be the moment they finally let themselves be free. Your click could be their answered prayer. You've been so hard on yourself for so long. You've been your own judge, your own jury, your own prison guard. You've sentenced yourself to a lifetime of regret for crimes that God already pardoned. And I'm here to tell you that your sentence is over. You've served enough time. You've carried enough weight. You've suffered enough for mistakes that were just part of learning how to live. It's time to walk out of that prison. The door has been open all along. God unlocked it the moment you asked for forgiveness, maybe even before you asked. But you've been sitting inside, believing you have to stay, believing you deserve to stay. And I'm standing at that open door telling you, come out. Come into the light. Come into freedom. Come into peace. Because peace isn't just the absence of guilt. Peace is the presence of grace. It's waking up in the morning and not immediately remembering all your failures. It's looking at old photographs and smiling at the memories instead of drowning in regret. It's thinking about the people from your past and wishing them well instead of torturing yourself with what went wrong. It's being able to sleep at night because you finally believe that you did enough, you gave enough, you were enough. That peace is available to you right now. Not tomorrow. Not after you've suffered a little more. Not after you've proven yourself worthy. Right now. In this moment. As you are. With all your mistakes. With all your regrets. With all your broken pieces. You can have peace right now if you just stop fighting against it. Stop telling God He's wrong about you. Stop rejecting the forgiveness He's offering. Stop pushing away the love that's been surrounding you all along. Just stop. Be still. And let yourself be loved exactly as you are. You did what you could. And what you did, even with all its imperfections, was an act of love. Because you cared. You tried. You showed up. You gave what you had. And in God's eyes, that's not just enough. That's beautiful. That's worthy of honor. That's worthy of peace. Now we come to the deepest truth of all, the one that will carry you through the rest of your days if you let it settle into your bones. Peace isn't something you find at the end of a perfect life. Peace is something you choose in the middle of an imperfect one. It's a decision you make to stop waiting until everything is resolved before you allow yourself to rest. It's accepting that some questions won't have answers, some relationships won't be restored, some mistakes can't be undone, and that's okay. That's life. And life, with all its messiness, is still worth living in peace. You've been waiting for permission to be at peace. You've been waiting to feel like you've done enough, sacrificed enough, changed enough to finally deserve rest. But that day will never come if you keep moving the finish line. There will always be something more you think you should have done. There will always be someone you think you should have loved better. There will always be a version of yourself you wish you had been. But God isn't asking you to be a different version of yourself. He's asking you to accept the version you were, the version you are, and trust Him with the version you're becoming. He's asking you to lay down the heavy burden of perfection and pick up the light burden of grace. He's asking you to stop replaying the past and start living in the present. Because this moment, right now, is the only one you truly have. And you can spend it drowning in regret, or you can spend it breathing in peace. Here's what I want you to understand about time. Time doesn't erase your mistakes, but it does give them new meaning. The things you regret most in your past, those painful moments you wish you could change, they've shaped you into someone who understands pain. Someone who has compassion for others who are struggling. Someone who knows what it's like to fall and have to find the strength to stand back up. Your mistakes didn't destroy you. They deepened you. They made you more human, more real, more capable of loving others with grace because you know how desperately you need grace yourself. Every wound you carry has taught you something. Every failure has shown you what matters. Every loss has revealed what you truly value. And yes, the lessons were hard. Yes, you paid a price for your education in this life. But you learned. You grew. You became someone who knows things that comfortable people never learn. You became someone with substance, with depth, with a story worth telling. And your story isn't over yet. This isn't the final chapter. God is still writing. He's taking everything you've been through, every mistake you've made, every tear you've cried, and He's weaving it all together into something beautiful. Something meaningful. Something that will help someone else one day when they're walking through their own darkness and need to know that someone else survived it too. Your pain has purpose. Your mistakes have meaning. Your journey, with all its wrong turns and dead ends, is leading you somewhere. You just can't see the destination yet. You can only see where you've been, and from that view, it looks like you failed. But God sees where you're going, and from His view, it looks like you're exactly on track. Right on time. Right where you need to be. Maybe you're thinking, but I hurt people. I caused pain. How can that have purpose? And I'll tell you how. Because the people you hurt had their own journeys to walk. Their own lessons to learn. Their own strength to discover. Your mistakes were part of their story too, but their story doesn't end with your mistake any more than yours does. God is working in their lives just like He's working in yours. He can use everything, even the painful things, to bring about growth and healing and wisdom. That doesn't mean you didn't matter. That doesn't mean your choices didn't have consequences. It means that even your worst moments couldn't derail God's plan. Not for you, and not for the people in your life. He's bigger than your mistakes. His love is stronger than your failures. His purpose prevails even when you stumble. Think about the person you are today. Think about your capacity for compassion, your understanding of suffering, your gentleness with people who are struggling. Where did all of that come from? It came from your own pain. It came from your own failures. It came from the nights you spent on your knees crying out to God, asking Him to help you, to change you, to give you another chance. That tenderness in your heart, that's not despite your mistakes. That's because of them. That's what they taught you. That's what they made you. And that person, the one you are right now, the one with the soft heart and the deep understanding and the quiet strength that comes from surviving hard things, that person is valuable. That person matters. That person has something to offer this world that no one else can offer in quite the same way. Because no one else has walked your exact path, learned your exact lessons, or carries your exact scars. You're unique. And your uniqueness, born from your struggles, is your gift. So when you look back at your life and you see all the things you wish you had done differently, I want you to also see all the things those experiences taught you. I want you to see the person you became because of them. I want you to honor that person instead of condemning them. Because that person, the one looking back with regret, that person has a heart. A good heart. A heart that cares about doing right. A heart that wishes it had loved better. And that heart is proof that you're not the villain in your own story. You're just human. Beautifully, imperfectly, wonderfully human. If these words have moved something in your spirit today, if you're feeling lighter than you did when you started watching, would you help me spread this message? Subscribe to this channel and leave a like so we can reach more hearts that need to hear they're forgiven, they're loved, and they did enough. Your support helps build a community of people who are learning to live in grace instead of guilt. And that's a community worth being part of. Peace comes when you finally accept that you don't have to carry this weight anymore. You've carried it long enough. You've punished yourself long enough. You've paid a debt that was already paid by someone who loves you more than you can imagine. Jesus didn't die on that cross so you could spend the rest of your life in prison. He died to set you free. Free from guilt. Free from shame. Free from the burden of trying to earn something that was always meant to be a gift. And the gift he offers you today is peace. Deep, lasting, real peace. Not the kind that depends on everything going right. Not the kind that disappears when you remember your mistakes. The kind that stays with you even on hard days. The kind that whispers, "It's okay, you're loved, you're forgiven, you're enough." That peace is yours if you'll just reach out and take it. Stop telling yourself you need to do more before you deserve peace. Stop making excuses for why you can't rest yet. Stop believing the lie that you're too broken for grace. You did what you could. Those 5 words hold so much power if you'll let them be true for you. You did what you could with what you had. And that's all anyone can ever do. That's all God ever asked of you. Now it's time to live like someone who's been forgiven. Time to walk like someone who's been set free. Time to breathe like someone who finally understands they don't have to earn God's love because they already have it. Time to smile again. Time to hope again. Time to believe that your best days aren't behind you, they're ahead of you, because now you're carrying wisdom instead of shame, and peace instead of guilt. Every morning when you wake up, before your feet hit the floor, I want you to say this out loud. I did what I could. God knows my heart. I am forgiven. I am loved. I am at peace. Say it even if you don't feel it yet. Say it until your heart starts to believe what your mouth is declaring. Say it until the weight lifts. Say it until you can look in the mirror and see someone worthy of grace looking back at you. Because you are worthy. Not because you're perfect. Not because you never made mistakes. But because you're God's child, and His children are always worthy of His love. Always. No matter what. No exceptions. No conditions. You could never do anything to make Him love you less, and you don't have to do anything to make Him love you more. His love is complete. His grace is sufficient. His peace is waiting. The past is behind you. You can't change it. But you can change how you carry it. You can stop letting it define you and start letting it refine you. You can look at those old wounds and see them as places where light got in. You can honor the person you were for doing the best they knew how, and honor the person you are now for being brave enough to face the truth and accept grace. This is your moment. This is when everything shifts. This is when you decide that the story of your life won't be about all the ways you failed, but about how you learned to forgive yourself and trust God with the rest. This is when peace stops being something you hope for someday and becomes something you live in today. You've been through so much. You've carried so much. You've survived so much. And you're still here. Still breathing. Still loving. Still hoping. Still trying. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's courage. That's faith. And that deserves honor, not condemnation. So today, right now, in this very moment, I speak peace over your life. Peace over your past. Peace over your memories. Peace over your regrets. Peace over your heart. You did what you could, and that was enough. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are free. Walk in that truth. Live in that grace. Rest in that peace. And may you finally know, deep in your soul where words can barely reach, that you were always enough. You are enough. And you will always be enough in the eyes of the one who matters most. God sees you. God knows you. God loves you. And in His perfect love, there is perfect peace. Receive it. Embrace it. Live in it. You are home.